Hello, I'm Mike Bairdsmith, assistant winemaker at Lytton Springs, Ridge Vineyards.
And I'm Josh DeLoach. I work in the hospitality at Lytton Springs. And today,
we're going to go through our Z list,
our fall Z list.
fall Z list release, and unbox those wines and try them and talk about them.
Let's get into it. These are our Z-list fall wines. Our core wines here are the first three. I have our Ponzo Vineyard, Zinfandel, our Lytton Springs, Zinfandel Field Blend, which is from the vines right here. Our Papera Zin, which is 100% Zin, very small production, with the optional wines here of our Blasi Zinfandel, another very small production Zin, and our Pagani Ranch, which most of our Z-list members who've been in the Z-list for a while will remember being part of the core list, which is now part of the optional wines on here. And our Z-list focuses on our Zinfandels.
Getting 2024 was kind of, I love 2023. But man, we were just waiting for fruit to ripen. 2024 was one of those, I don't remember it as well because I don't have a lot of notes about it. Like, it was just sort of a Goldilocks year.
It was wonderful.
It was incredible.
Everything happened all at the right time.
Right when we wanted it to, things ripened just as we hoped they would. It was a real breeze, real easy vintage to work with. And so to have, 2024 wines, what a delight. Yeah, I think everyone's going to really enjoy this. So we should get into our first wine.
Excellent. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start opening bottles.
Yeah. All right, our 2024 Ponzo Vineyard. Ponzo has a special place in my heart as being unique in its elegance every year. I don't know about you, the standout sort of descriptors for me always kind of fall into the world of like tropical fruit. Notes of that, along with the bramble fruit you'd expect from a Zinfandel.
Definitely get that. Yeah, for me, the Ponzo definitely leans a little bit more towards the bright red.
Yeah.
On the scale of Zinfandels. It's a great one to have that's not always like those big dark purples that you typically see in what people think of Zinfandels.
Yeah. Well, it's in this really unique spot. The vineyard itself is located in the confluence of Russian River, Dry Creek, and Alexander Valley. It's on the Russian River side of things, and it's an older vineyard. It's not extremely old. It's a 40-year-old vineyard. Bob Ponzo's been farming it for 40 years. And but it's absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, this is it's a great wine. You can cellar this for a little while.
Oh, totally.
I believe Shauna says around 6 years on this, but I do also love this right now. This is a good one to just pop open. I love this because of the bright red flavors. I do love this with a little bit more tomato-based dishes. This is one of my pizza pasta wines.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right? This goes well with pretty much any tomato-based dish.
Well, that little region of Russian River, you get like nice ripe Zinfandel, but still retaining good acid. So it's a great food wine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and with anything Italian, almost any food really. This is showing beautifully right now. It will age well. It does have the acid to balance it out, has a structure to give it ageability. Yeah, this is great right out on release. So loving this one. Nice. Really happy with it. And it's showing its classic, like you said, red fruit, classic Zinfandel character, and then just hints of like this sort of a almost tropical kind of high-tone fruit that really just sort of bursts out of the glass.
Right. I get a little more on the nose, and then well, let's get a lid into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. What would you say on the weight? It's kind of I'd put it medium. Would you go medium to medium light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, definitely heavier than a Pinot, but lighter than what a lot of people would think of as Zinfandel. And a lot of people do think of Pinot coming from around this area.
Absolutely. And actually, I like that comparison. Because there is something in the structure and the acid that sort of hints of like Russian River Pinot,
right.
But with that classic sort of Zinfandel nose.
Beautiful. Look at the color on that. So, up next we have here our Lytton Springs. This is our newest release of what we're looking at, a Zinfandel based field blend of the vines right here. I do like to tell people that come to the tasting room that you are drinking in the view.
We give our attention to all our vineyards, but this is our baby. This is our our Lytton Springs focus. This is we give this all the attention it deserves.
Sort of like our flagship,
It's like our
basically, to
flagship,
show
yeah.
exactly what's going on here that year.
100%. And it's grown right here in our backyard, and we watch it grow up. It's like family.
It is.
It's like our little baby every year.
We started getting these grapes back in '72, or maybe even earlier. But that's when we started making Lytton Springs.
Yes.
However, we didn't buy the property until the '90s, and then in 2000, early 2000s, we built our facility here and started making about half the wine.
The fruit yielding from this place is like none other. Our Geyserville's our other flagships, Zinfandel, that's, as the crow flies, maybe a mile away, but a completely different world entirely.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Even though it's just like basically a hop, skip, and a jump across the freeway and up one exit, it's technically in another appellation.
Yeah, we're in Dry Creek Valley here.
So this will showcase this one right here, but we are on the border, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, but it's also fun to see what a dramatic difference you get from the Geyserville versus Lytton Springs.
Absolutely.
Unlike the 23 vintage, which was a little more elegant, this is a little riper, a little bigger, a little more powerful than the 23. I love the 23. This 24 though is I think a little more typical of our style here. It was definitely like a Goldilocks year for grape growing here at Lytton Springs. Everything went perfectly. I have no notes.
Nice. Can't ask better than that.
I look at my journal.
Right?
I'm like, everything was fine.
Everything worked great. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, and the resulting wine turned out fantastic.
That's nice when things work out like that. But
What do you think of its age worthiness? We haven't tried it really.
Oh, we haven't really tried it yet, but typically I do.
From a distance, what do you think?
Yeah. So I do typically. Shauna does say on the back, usually around a decade or so, and this one's no difference. As over the next decade, it will develop. But,
Oh yeah, easily.
but I do typically like to have my Lyttons a little younger than it says on the bottle, as opposed to the Geyservilles, which tend to like just as old, if not older.
Yeah.
They say. So I like to tell people that their mileage may vary, but that's what the winemaker suggests. And if you like it earlier and later, buy a case and see how it develops.
Just get
throughout
through it, over the course of a decade. Yeah.
And I like to tell people this is my my party wine as well, because if I don't know what they're serving at the party, I usually bring this, and it goes with just about everything. And
Okay,
usually
gotcha.
People are happy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is my pet project every year. Our Geyserville we still produce down at Montebello.
Right.
Lytton Springs is made here at Lytton Springs.
here.
And we give it a lot of TLC, man.
Yeah.
So when we see it turn out as well as this did, it's just very rewarding.
So what are you getting on the nose
A
here?
lot of dark fruit, chocolate, and a little earthiness that I really find appealing. This is it's just one of the more serious vintages, the 24. Again, I love this wine in its youth. It's a fall release, so we do hang on to it for quite a while before it's released, which is great.
Absolutely, needs a little time.
Little time.
It's always good for it.
Oh, but then if you pair it with the right foods, some of the structure that's maybe keeping the palate a little closed falls away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like this is a barbecue.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
wine's like a condiment. If you think it goes well with that food, you should definitely have it with that food.
Exactly.
This one is definitely, for me, a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. I want some brisket right now.
Now we have our Papera Zinfandel that we'll be checking out here. This is our first year making this, and this is out from right on the road I grew up on Olivet Road, which is in Russian River Valley, right in the heart of Russian River Valley, where the fog comes in, which just blew away. And then very small production of this one, because these are right after Prohibition.
A minute after Prohibition.
Minute after Prohibition.
Yeah, good old Charlie Papera is like, we can drink again. I'll plant some grapes.
All
man.
right, Zin.
Yeah.
And Zin was
34.
Yeah, it was very common in that area and most areas around here as kind of a bulletproof crop, because people didn't really know what would grow out here, which is why we have a lot of field blends that are based with Zin, and then a lot of stuff intermixed there. However, what we're going to be drinking is 100% Zin, which is kind of unique for these old gnarly head train vines out on that road.
Well, totally, yeah. Post-Prohibition, he's like, let's do Zinfandel. This is like you said, it's a new vineyard for us in the Russian River Valley. There's some great old vineyards in Russian River. So when we had the opportunity to get some fruit from them, we jumped at it.
Absolutely.
and made just 39 barrels of this.
Oh, that's not a lot. So, yeah,
It's
get
barely
sooner
enough,
rather than later.
barely enough just to
Just enough
for
to
us.
sell. Yeah.
But it's a stunning Zinfandel. This is our freshman effort with it. It's a big, bold wine. I would taste this after some of our other Zinfandels. Its expression of place, like many of our single vineyard Zinfandels, it's wholly unique to the site. It's surprising it's 100% Zinfandel. You would think there's some Petit Syrah.
That's how big it, I mean, just look at the color.
Just because of the color
look
and the
at that.
weight.
It's so purple.
Yeah, it is a broad-shouldered, serious in.
And what's our aging program that we do for our Zinfandels on there? Do we what kind of oak are we using here?
This one got 14 months, and at first we started a little conservative. It's our first time making this. We're like, let's see how the oak impacts the wine. We don't want to overdo it. You can always add a little more. You can't take it away.
Right. A lot harder to do that.
Yeah. So we started with a pinch of oak, just about 15%, and then we tasted it in the spring. We're like, you know what? This is a big wine. It could handle a little bit more new oak. So we did a modest amount of new oak at first, and then upped it to about 20% later on its aging process, and then spent 14 months in oak. And I think we kind of nailed it.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know what you think.
So it smells good so far. I'm gonna get a little sip of this.
I mean, I can't believe there's no Petit Syrah on this. It's got a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's got that dark bramble fruit you get from Zinfandel.
Still got some good tannins in there. I'm assuming some of that comes from that oak there.
A little bit from the oak, but it's just a really well-structured wine naturally.
Yeah.
Really small berries, low yielding, so a lot of concentration. Yeah, this was an easy wine to make. It just made itself.
Great. I like to tell people it's a lot harder to make good wine from bad grapes than it is to make bad wine from good grapes. So, yeah, it's
Yeah, like anything, it's all about the raw materials you start with. And so when you're starting with fruit of this quality, it's just a gift. And we're just thrilled to get to work with the vineyard and hope to continue to for years.
Yeah, this is showing
going
off
forward.
well. It's not overly fruity. It's not like one of those big jammy bombs that people think of, but there's still
Right.
lots of good dark purple fruit in there. But I like the elegance and the tannic structure on there. They'll go well with food. A little heavier foods probably.
Sure.
On this one.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Something with a little more fat to it than
Yep.
I would have something like Lytton Springs, maybe a little lighter fare. This is something a little more marbled maybe on there. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, people often think Russian River like, oh, it's a cooler climate. It's going to be a little lighter style. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Depends how old the vines are and what the winemaker does with it.
Yeah, and in the site, I mean, this is a little pocket of that region where it does get a good amount of sun.
The grapes need that temperature change, you know, that diurnal shift, you need that struggle being perfect pollinators. The more they struggle, the sweeter and redder fruit they produce. So these
Yeah.
are struggling just the right amount
Yes.
out there.
And the diurnal swing's a big thing, the Russian River. I love that.
Absolutely.
Because we'll go sample grapes, you know, during the harvest, and it, you know, it's cloudy, misty nearly.
Right.
And then and so the grapes retain this great acidity. They cool off at night, and then they get just cooked during the day.
Right.
With intense, you know, fall.
Help them finally develop some sugar.
Yes, and then they ripen properly. And that swing really comes through in the wine. You know, it's not, or like you said, it's not like jammy or overly ripe, and it's not flabby. It's got great acid. It's just a sweet spot for Zinfandel.
But very, very different than the Ponzo, which is near this area, which is, like I said, a little more bright red.
Yeah.
There's a little more purple, but both nice and light with good tannic structure.
Yeah, and this you would not call medium, would you?
No, this is heavy. Yeah, the Ponzo.
I'd go
is,
medium plus.
Medium
to heavy.
Medium or light heavy.
Yeah. No, really enjoying this wine. It's beautiful. So, yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers, mate. It's not hard to talk about these wines. It's not hyperbole. This is pretty nice.
Really delicious.
Yeah, good structure to it. Yeah, I think that'll last at least 12 years.
A nice thing about our wine clubs is if you don't have the cellar or the patience to age your wines like myself, then you can buy them old and we age them for you. You pay a little bit more, not much, but you can pop them that night and enjoy them.
Oh, that's right. We keep a library
Yeah,
of
we
like
keep a
every
library
vintage.
here at both the tasting room here and at Montebello, and
Yeah.
I assume at Paso Robles as well.
Yeah, this will definitely end up in the library.
Yeah.
Blasi.
Blasi, yes. Beautiful. They're named after Gary Blasi.
Oh, I love Gary.
Yes, Gary comes into the tasting room often. He's classic Sonoma County farmer wearing his overalls, and yeah, just very down to earth and very fun guy to pour his wine for. He loves the stuff. So we did all of 22 barrels.
All of 22 barrels.
This one. So
Yeah, it almost looks like a backyard vineyard, just sort
Yeah.
of like a hobby vineyard.
Absolutely.
Except that it's a fairly old vine and planted in an incredibly unique appellation. It's part of the Chalk Hill appellation, which is a sub-appellation noted for its chalky soil. So it's like
Hence
this.
the name.
Yeah, hence the name.
There you go.
It's this Cretaceous period chalk.
Oh, nice.
And if you ever get the chance to go to the vineyard, do not wear your best shoes. It is literally like walking through like powder, like you're on another planet.
Oh, wow.
And that soil imparts, I think, a pretty unique flavor profile to the wine. There is a minerality that comes through in the wine that I've always really liked. Again, it's part of kind of sub-appellation Russian River. So like some of our other wines, like Papera or Ponzo, more like it's cool mornings, a good hit of sun during the day during the ripening season, and then cool nights too. So there's an elegance to it.
Nice.
Yeah, I compare it maybe more to like the Ponzo than Papera is a little more broad-shouldered wine.
Yes.
The Ponzo is a little more elegant like this.
Gotcha. Yeah, a little lighter in tannin, a little, still elegant, but a little lighter in structure.
Medium to medium light body. Nice acid, really pretty nose. 24 vintage, a little bit riper than the 23, but still just a kind of a Goldilocks vintage where, everything was perfect. The grapes that year really did us a favor and just ripened perfectly. And we're like, thank you.
Right?
Thank you, nature.
I can't ask for more than that.
No.
I mean, the year on the bottle is supposed to be the expression of what that year was for your vintage. So,
And give that a try, man.
Yeah,
This is showing beautifully right now. I'm always surprised because I get to try this, in barrel, in tank, on bottling day. Then we hold on to it for a while and release it when we do, and it's always nice to see it as a finished wine.
right. And this is one of the optional wines that we get in the Z list.
That's okay.
Here. So we you get to customize your Z list as well as our other wine clubs.
What an incredible feature.
Right, and this is definitely one of my favorite options that we do. Blasi is a very small production, like I said, and then every once in a while we'll make another Zin called Jimsamer, which is actually made at Montebello and is even smaller production and is much harder to get to. And this one, to me, is sort of similar in that vein where it has a little bit more of those blue fruit characteristics that I get on there. Maybe a little bit more of that old world kind of going on in the nose there.
And it's 100% Zinfandel. And to me, every year when we bring this in, I'm always like, this is classic Blasi. It's got a really unique expression of that vineyard that's consistent year after year. To me, there's an elegance to it as well.
Absolutely.
And just it's a personality of its own. That sort of it reminds me of Gary Blasi, the guy who grows it.
Right? Yeah. That's a very appropriate and fitting.
Oh, this reeks of quality. I love it.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Oh yeah, that'll be great with food. You can age this for a little while too.
Yep.
I'd say you could probably age this just as long as you could age the Ponzo.
Yeah, I put it around in Ponzo too. Maybe not like not something you hang on to for like 10, 12 years.
Right.
More like a
Something
5 to 6.
Yeah. Enjoy a little bit more now.
Yeah.
It's great.
Enjoy
right now.
now.
You literally just popped it, and it's fantastic.
But
So,
if you forget that you have it for a few years,
you'll
it'll
be
fine.
okay.
It'll be fine. Yeah, that's really lovely.
Here's our Pagani Ranch Zinfandel, which is part of our Z-List program. If you are used to getting the Pagani Ranch, which many of our Z-List club members are, this is now part of our optional line. So you will have to order this if this was one of your favorites now, as opposed to it just automatically coming in your Z-List shipment. And we've been getting these grapes since the 90s, I believe?
We've been making this since 91.
91.
But the grapes themselves, the
much
vines
older than
themselves,
that, yeah.
much older than
These
that.
are all pre-prohibition grapes
Oh,
from
yeah.
the 1890s
Yeah.
out there. And once again, like Lytton Springs and Geyserville, it's Zinfandel based with a bunch of other varietals all intermixed there. They did a bunch of trial and error to kind of see what worked, and there's a lot of if it ain't broke, don't fix it here at
you
Ridge. And so they came up with this field blend about 100-something years ago, and it's still doing quite well to this day.
You see it everywhere around Sonoma County. These old farmers, man, they knew what they were doing. They're like, Zinfandel grows beautifully here. Let's plant
Turns
Zinfandel.
out,
It's like,
yeah.
okay, well, let's plant some complementary varieties to Zinfandel. Like, great, okay, could it use a little more structure? Sure, let's put some Petit Syrah out there.
Petit Syrah.
Great, could we elevate the fruit, give a little more red fruit expression? Carignan.
Carignan.
And then Pagani was one of the many growers that was like, ooh, let's get some Alicante Boucher going out there. You don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. I mean, the wine that results from Alicante on its own, dark red, tannic, intense.
Right.
So a little bit in the field blend is just chef's kiss.
Nice.
So yeah, Pagani was one of the ones that planted that 100 years ago. I think this vintage we ended up with about 9% Alicante
Oh wow,
Boucher.
that's a lot more than we usually have in like Lytton or Geyserville.
And you know what the funny thing is? We don't know what the final blend is going to be until we go through, do blind tastings, and decide which blocks are going to go into the final blend. Because this is a large vineyard. It's a larger production wine for us. And so we get a lot of different blocks in during harvest. It's always the last vineyard that we pick.
Wow.
Yeah, it's in Valley
It's
of
out
the
there.
Moon, Sonoma Valley.
Right on Highway 12.
Right on Highway 12,
Yeah.
in this little low spot where the fog just sits until like noon. So it's a very, very slow growing process, slow ripening, I should say, which is nice.
Yeah.
You get hang time, and we're picking this in October. Pagani's, it's wholly unique. It's always got a really dark
Yeah,
purple.
that's a great purple color in there from those Alicante Bouchers helping
Alicante
out
Boucher,
with that.
but there's like a plummy quality to it, along with like really nice rich bramble, and always really good acid. So it's always a balanced wine because it's in a cooler spot. It just retains its acidity beautifully.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it always goes well with food that way too.
Exactly.
And, most of our wines are great food pairers, and because of that high acid.
Because of high acid.
Yeah. And,
I mean, because of the character of the vineyard, because of kind of low intervention winemaking, but that acid is always like the little sweet spot that really makes it like the food wine. This one always stands out to me as like being on the darker side fruit wise.
Right. Yeah.
Brighter acid, but still like dark and serious and kind
Leaning
of-
more towards the purple fruits, kind of like
fruits.
the Papera Zinfandel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unlike the Ponzo, which is a little more of the bright reds.
Bright
This
reds.
is a little more of the dark purples.
Yeah, 100%.
And bramble for sure.
Bramble for sure. There's always a certain quality to this that I don't know what to call it. Maybe even like an umami that I get on
gotcha.
this wine. That just stands out. I can pick it out of a lineup, no problem. I'm really happy to see how this turned out. Yeah, cheers.
Let's have it. So here we have our Ponzo Vineyard Zinfandel here. This is an older vintage, it's the 18 here, and I noticed you used the a device there to open it that was different than what we've been opening before. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
This is called the Osso. There's a little bit of a longer prong and a shorter one. You put the longer one on the edge, and then you wiggle it down, and what it does is it grabs the cork from the outside, and then you rotate it out and pull it out. It's great for older bottles. Now, this isn't like that old. I'm
Right,
talking about
right.
8 years. But like if you're like opening a 15, 20-year-old bottle, sometimes you put the cork in, you screw in, cork screw in, it just crumbles. Yeah. This is great for older bottles. But it takes a little bit of practice
Yes, yeah.
using it. Yeah, that's why I like using it for anything older than 6 or 7 years.
And this is, like we said, a library vintage. So this is not normally available for anyone who just comes into the tasting room. However, if you're in our wine clubs, any of our wine clubs, you do have access to our library wines, which is one of the benefits, many benefits of being in any of our wine clubs.
That's a huge benefit.
That's a huge benefit.
We all want to like sort of sit on our wines for 10 years, but none of us do that.
No, well, rarely us.
And even if we do we always have like the best storage, space? We're storing our wines exactly how they should be stored, so it's guaranteed to be.
No, it's going to be set. It's not, been on the floor in the sun at a liquor store
or
somewhere.
above my refrigerator.
Or the worst.
Yeah.
Upright above the fridge.
Or I just forgot it's there. I'm like, we should
no.
try this.
But yeah, as the wines age, you can see they get a little bit more oxidized, a little browner,
a little more of a
orangey
brick
color.
little
you can-
brick
little more
color.
brick color. You can usually see that.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like when the primary fruit that Zinfandel is known for kind of diminishes over time. You get some secondary and tertiary flavors. Some of it's from the oak barrel aging. Others is just sort of the unique quality of an older Zinfandel. And it can be amazing. Oftentimes I can't tell it's Zinfandel. I think it's like an aged claret or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't express the way the Zinfandel normally does. And I think the Ponzo is like a great candidate for aging. 2018 was a pretty hot year, but Ponzo Vineyard is in that cooler little confluence of Russian River, Dry Creek Valley, Alexander Valley, but in the Russian River side of things, where it retains really beautiful acidity, and that acidity not only balances the wine but gives it age ability.
So as you were saying, as the wines age, not only do you get the color change, but you get more of those tertiary flavors. So some of those bright red flavors morph into more purple flavors. The purple flavors morph into more of those brown flavors like leathers, tobaccos, and more of those, like you said, tertiary or more porty flavors that people don't know that word.
Yeah, no, for sure. But still, and try it. It's still got plenty of primary fruit. It's delving more into I associate with like Chianti, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's got plenty of fruit.
Plenty of fruit.
It's still it makes your mouth water a little because of the acidity, which sometimes you lose some of that on the older wine. So it retained that beautifully.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, that's delicious.
I mean, this is just screaming out for lasagna, or I don't know. I'm loving exactly where this is.
Oh, that's singing right now. I'm loving that.
And to go a little further, I would say this is I think it's perfect time for this wine.
Yeah, it's right where it should be.
Yeah, like it's not the one where you'd be like, no, it needs like 2 or 3 more years. I'm like, no, man, this is
available to buy it now, pop it now, have it now.
Yeah, and the little inside baseball, we knew this.
We did know this.
We tried this vintage recently, and we're like, this is perfect right now.
So that's one of the benefits of being in a wine club is you get access not only to our knowledge of that, but to the actual wines themselves.
Yes, and they're well stored. So I mean,
and then we'll actually pour this alongside a younger vintage on some of our events and our private events that we do, like our Century Tour here, and we have other private events at our other tasting rooms that you get a discount on if you're in the wine club as well.
Yeah, those side-by-side tastings are
they're a lot of fun. They really show you if you prefer it to be younger or older, because not always does everyone like their wine older, and that's okay too. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our unboxing of our Z List here, and we enjoyed tasting this, and I hope
very much
enjoyed. Hopefully, you're tasting along with us as well, and you can get all of these wines at the tasting room or in the wine club. We have multiple tasting rooms in Paso Robles, here at Lytton Springs in Sonoma County, and also down at Montebello at the original site in Santa Cruz Mountains out there.
No matter where you're in California, you can find Ridge.
You'll find us out there. Thank you, Michael, for telling us all about these wines.
It was my pleasure. What a delight to taste finished wines.
Right?
Yeah, rather than just out of barrel and tank. Pulling
nice
your cork.
Change up for you.
Love changing it up and trying the current releases. And I love that the 24s are showing so beautifully, and the 18, which we're having right now.
Excellent.
Really good stuff. It's very satisfying to try the wines and be like, oh, thank God.
Right?
Yeah, they turned out great.
So yeah, come into the tasting room, learn about wine. If you know nothing about wine, we'd love to teach you about it. If you want to come in and just enjoy the view and drink some good stuff, we can do that too.
Yeah.
A little column A, a little column B. We're passionate about it, and we want you to be passionate about it too.
Yeah, come on in, guys. It's a fantastic lineup happening right now. The wines have never been better, to be honest.
Right?
What do you think?
It's tasty. So
Good. Okay.
There you go. Cheers.
Correct answer.